I'm Caitlyn Bristowe. Your session is now starting.
Erotic therapy.
Welcome to the
Hey everybody, welcome to Off the Vine. Today we have two sisters who are pop culture queens. They're brutally honest and hilarious. Lauren and Chanler from Pop Apologists, and we're diving into their story, life outside of religion, and of course the latest in pop culture. Obama, Jennifer Aniston, what? The Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni feud that I know nothing about, and more. So let's get into it with Lauren and Chanler.
Well, welcome to the pod. Okay, we were just talking about living situations. Did you grow up in Orange County?
Yes.
Okay, so I feel like a lot of people, when you hear Orange County, you're like, oh my gosh, you probably grew up like a surfer and in the sun and just like, they think of Real Housewives culture and this, but you grew up very differently. You were Mormon.
Yes. Yeah, we did grow up actually in San Clemente, which is a surf town.
Okay.
So definitely surf sun. Neither of us are surfers though.
Okay.
But I always had a crush on a surfer.
Well, yeah,
but
I still do.
We did grow up Mormon. So in
Wow.
a very conservative, like, we wore one pieces growing up, no bikinis.
Okay. Is
Yeah.
that part of the Mormon culture is you can't wear bikinis?
Kind of, yeah.
Oh,
It's
It
like,
used to be more strict, yeah.
Are you still practicing? No.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
no.
So what happened in life? Like you grew up this certain way, and then at what point in life were you like, this is not for me?
So I actually I took it super seriously,
Yeah.
and so I just read as much as I could about it, and I just found when I was actually really young, like 13, and I just found that it didn't seem like it was true at all. And so it was just pretty cut and dry, like, okay, well, this to me factually just seems like there's no way
Right.
it's based in any sort of reality. And so
Right.
that was kind of my journey out of it.
And then my journey kind of began a little bit later. I was like 16, 17, and there was legislation in California, Prop 8. I don't know if you remember that at all. I mean, you're from Canada. It's
Yeah.
like-
I do not
anyway, it was
remember
just
this.
about like, can gay people marry each other?
Okay.
And it was a big deal, and there was like kind of a encouragement from our like local church, our local Mormon church, to like go and protest like
Oh,
the
wow.
legislation getting passed. And that was the first time where I was like, I feel like I have like a soul.
Yeah.
And then
yeah.
there's like the theology that I think I believe in,
Right.
you know, that it was like kind of, I also thought was my soul. And like there was a disconnect there between like, wait, I actually don't care about that or
Right.
think that should be, that's like like I would never, tell someone they couldn't marry the person they love.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was the beginning of my journey of just kind of like, there's a disconnect here. And then, it kind of snowballed as like other things just like didn't sit right with me. And then I ended up just, you spend an hour on Google and a lot of things get opened up to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel that. Wait, how old are you both right now?
I'm 34.
I'm 29.
Okay, because I'm like thinking about when I was like, I don't even know if Google was a thing when I was 16. Like, I feel like that's crazy to think about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like I remember hearing an AOL, dial up
Yes.
connection.
Yeah, me too. I saw a meme the other day. There was like a grandma with her walker and like her, I don't know, granddaughter walking her. And she's like, back in my day, when you dialed up the internet, it sounded like robots were screaming at you. And the little girl's like, okay, grandma, let's get you to sleep, like crazy lady. And I'm like, oh my God, I remember those
Yes.
sounds. That's so funny.
It's so scary how quickly that happens to you in your life, though, where all of a sudden you're just like older than everyone else.
I know.
And you're right. No, I'm used to being the young one.
No, I can see it
Scary.
happening. I for sure see my mom and myself so many times. And I'm just like, do you just embrace it or do you try and like change it?
Oh, I don't know. I'm
don't know
caught in
either.
between right now.
I'm so caught because I still dress like I'm like a 15-year-old boy and I'm a 39-year-old woman. And this year I turned 40, but I still feel like I'm 20. And it's just so confusing.
It's so
It
confusing.
really is a mind F for sure. We have a little bit of that dynamic where Chandler's still like the young whippersnapper and kind of, and I obviously sound like I'm an old lady with the way I'm talking.
Whippersnapper. The young buck here.
Young whippersnapper.
So sometimes I'll say things on the
Adam says-
podcast. Chandler's like, we're going to edit that out.
I know, keep it in. I love that. Whippersnapper.
No, but, like, I mean, I will, and this might be annoying because sometimes, you chastise me for, talking about feeling old. But I do think, like, at my job, so I have, like, a full-time job still, and I used to kind of feel like I was, like, the youngest person, and that was, like, my superpower a little bit, was, like, being really in touch with culture, and I still feel like I am.
Yeah.
I'm still a young whippersnapper. But now, it's like, there are other people at my job, and I'm like, the sun is setting on that
On
time
that-
for me.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And that is
Yeah.
that is sinking in.
Yeah, there's a few things where I'm like, again, the confusion of so many different feelings at once, because I'm like, I should be so grateful I'm alive and like aging is a blessing, but don't make me look like I'm aging. Like when Botox studies are coming out and telling me something different, and I am a drinker, and now this, and I'm like,
They're trying to take away all the good things in our life.
all of the good things.
Well, and then it's annoying because I feel like, you know, I am a person who thinks about my age as a woman. I think it's pretty common. And I asked my fiance, I'm like, the other day I said, I'm like, I can't believe you're going to be like 33 or 34. You know, just like me, just processing that. Like that age feels, you know, crazy to me. Sorry, I know that's so annoying.
No, that's okay. I get it.
And anyway, I'm like, how often do you think about your age? And he's like, never.
Really?
Like, it's just like, it's so annoying.
Yeah, it is. It is very annoying. I feel like there's a lot of those things. Like men definitely get better looking with age too. Yeah. And then I'm like, do we too? And we just have been trained to think we don't? Or do we actually just not age as well as them?
You know, I actually have a hot take on this, which is really you have to be good looking to begin with, which a lot of men are not. And so I don't think all men just like age so well and look so good.
That's true.
And I also think that like women do too. We just don't celebrate like the beauty of the older woman as much as we celebrate the distinguished older successful guy. But I feel like I look at so many women who are older now and they're so stunning to me.
Yeah, I agree.
So
I think it's the conversation about it because it's like with a man, it's like how you like you really age like a fine wine, you know, Patrick Dempsey or whatever. And then like with women, it's like, oh, you look so good. It's like, you know, you still held on to that, you know? It's like, no, you actually maybe look better.
I like listening to Kate Winslet talk about this. Have you heard her talk about aging? I'm just like, she is just a class act, and I feel like and she looks beautiful.
She's beautiful.
She really does.
Yeah. And Pamela Anderson just rocking, no makeup. I can't even, her whole thing, you know, for her career was based on her looks. Like being the hot girl, having the best body, looking young. Like that was literally what she was known for. And now she's like, I don't want to be known for that. I want to be known for like gardening. And I'm here for that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe this sounds naive, but I'm here for all the iterations, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
I get that.
I like that I had a different look at 12 than I do at 34.
Right.
And like I'm excited to be a different version of myself at 72.
Yeah, I'm like knowing that I'm turning 40 this year, I'm like, I want to fully lean into being 40. Like I want to like feel 40, and you know how people talk about it gets empowering in your 40s and you give less. I'm like, I'm going to just lean in instead of being like, ugh. Now 50, different story. I'm going to freak the out. I am not going to be well.
Gwyneth Paltrow says that 40 is when it starts getting good. So I think she's probably right. She's right about most things.
Truly.
She's right about most things.
Yeah.
Were you too close growing up, or did you have your sibling rivalry?
We were close, but there was always this like little bit of a tension because Chanler was religious, and even though I went to all the stuff and I still did everything.
Because our parents made you.
Yeah. Because it was very strict.
Yeah.
There was kind of like this encouragement for us not to be that close. And so there was a separation for sure. We didn't really get close until she was in high school and I was in college.
Oh, that makes sense.
I mean, I was very devout and a rule follower. And Lauren, like I don't know. I just kind of, you know, looked at her like, oh, like this woman, you know what? And I remember I was kind of a tattletale. Like I would, at one point she listened to like this. Do you remember Damien Rice at all, the musician?
Of course.
Yeah.
Cannonball, one of my favorite songs.
Right?
Yeah.
There's like one of his songs, the chorus is just like, F you over and over. I don't know if we can cuss, but
it's
just F you over and over again. And I remember like I heard that in my room. I heard that playing from Lauren's room and I was just like, I have to tell our mom. Like I have no choice.
Wait, what age?
Maybe it was 11 or 12 probably. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Anyway, so that was our dynamic growing up.
Yeah.
So was there a moment that you both were like, let's come together and like start talking about pop culture and like make this a thing? Like, how did your brand come to be?
Yeah, so we really grew up pretty obsessed with pop culture.
You did?
Yeah.
You were always into pop culture?
Completely.
Yeah.
Like reading People magazine, reading Us Weekly, reading Teen Vogue in my bathtub, you know, before there were iPhones and before, you know, celebrity news was even on the internet. Like just reading it.
Yeah, the magazines,
You know, that's when we got our information.
And did you believe it? Would you see the headlines and be like, oh.
I didn't believe like In Touch or any of that, but Us Weekly was Bible for sure.
Really?
Yeah, I remember like we'd go get our nails done with our mom, and like if the nail salon had a fresh People magazine, I was like
gold.
Like Bible. Like I'm getting
really
like the truth. And yeah, anyway, so yeah, Us Weekly and people definitely believed those, but we knew the Inquirer was, not to be believed.
Right.
Yeah.
What about TMZ? Are they reliable?
TMZ can a lot of times be the mouthpiece for a celebrity. So generally, like if there's any sort of lawsuit that happens or any sort of announcement, you'll hear like immediately TMZ will release a story that's like a source says, and a lot of times it is that celebrity.
Really?
Yes, for sure.
That was always my biggest fear, because when I was like highly in the media right after Bachelorette, it would be like a source close to Kaitlyn says, and I'm like, who is the tattletale?
Well, and they can just say that about anybody. Anyone, they can
Well,
pretend.
some of them said a family member,
Wow.
which I was like, it could have been like a distant cousin, like it does. I do not think my family, whatever. And then one said a best friend. One said a roommate once, and I actually do believe this. I did live with somebody for a minute, and he called me Brist, and it said Brist
wow.
in the thing, and I was like, bye.
Wow.
Didn't trust him ever again. But
That's
yeah,
crazy.
okay.
Yeah.
So you've always been into it, like.
Yeah, we grew up in a very like fun household. Even though it was religious, it was a super fun, cool parents.
Yeah.
Like it was a fun life.
Yeah.
And so anyway, we were into housewives, we were into celebrities. We were just that was kind of
our mom likes celebrities, Yeah.
What is it about them? Like, what is it about celebrities or celebrity gossip that interests you? Is it just because you're like, they live such a different life from everyone, and like, what would that be like? Is it just the mystery, intrigued, what?
Honestly, I don't know that I can answer that question. It almost feels like, how did you learn English? Like I just was, it just happened,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I think too, like starting with Real Housewives, which was really our bread and butter at the beginning, or just like that was, I think, how I got hooked on all of this.
Yeah.
That was the gateway drug for me. Like, I think just seeing these characters up close and their like imperfect lives, and I don't know, it was to be studied for me. I just loved it so much.
Did you have a different name for your podcast when you started it?
No, it's always been Pop Apologists.
It always has?
Yeah.
So it started in 2016.
Yes.
And you were still in college, but then it didn't last long. So what happened there?
We recorded 10 episodes.
Okay.
And, we were just being very sacrilegious, saying, there was one episode we were talking about Orlando Bloom's nudes.
Oh, I remember those.
The paddleboarding.
Oh, yeah, I remember those.
We were pretty excited about this release. And so we were, reviewing the nudes, anyway. And word got back to our parents about the podcast.
Yeah.
And at the time, we were both, still had some financial ties. And so they were like, if this is not deleted immediately, your cell phone plan is over.
Yeah.
And we were like, no problem.
Oh, no.
Like the 24 countdown where it's like, where like the 24, numbers pop up and then it just like starts beeping. That was like our mom to us. It was like, you have 24 hours to take down the podcast or else like you'll be cut off.
But I actually don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, you don't? Anyway.
Like the show 24.
The show 24 with like Jack Bauer.
Yeah.
Anyway, like just like this clock started where it was like, you have to take it down or else like you'll be cut off from the phone plan and other things.
And was this at the podcast time, for your podcast at the time, was this just for funsies or were you making money off of it?
Oh,
no,
purely
it was just
for fun.
Oh,
It was just like we were bored. We were bored.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was an OG Juicy Scooper. So I don't know if you listened to Heather McDonald's podcast.
Love Heather.
So I think that's what gave me the idea, like, we should start a podcast. I just love listening to this in 2016, so.
Which nobody had a podcast in 2016.
I know, if we had kept going.
Yeah.
Instead of
can't even go there. It was also like the heyday, I think, of Kim and Kanye, which we were just like so in on them.
2016 with Kim and
So,
Kanye?
yeah. It was like I remember her selfie book had just come out. It was just like, we just had so much to say about our favorite celebrities.
Yeah. Wait, what's your take on Kanye now? Where is he? What's going on? Do you believe in conspiracy theories? Is he even here?
That's a great question.
Thanks.
I don't believe in clones quite yet because
Yeah.
I just feel like if that technology was really here, we would know more about it.
Yeah.
So I know I'm disappointing a lot of listeners right now who do
in
believe.
clones.
But I do believe he's here. So I have a friend who's worked with him closely and I've seen text messages between the two of them. He really is like the stories I've heard of of this person's interactions with him are so beyond what anyone could imagine. Like putting someone on timeout, like publicly in a workplace environment.
Oh.
And like everyone knows that person's on timeout. And
What do you mean? Like go sit in a corner? Like
yeah, and like no one's
think
allowed to
about
talk
what you
to
did?
you. Yeah, and it's I've seen like very lewd, awful text messages.
Oh no.
So I think Kanye has gone to the dark side, unfortunately.
Yeah, he seems like he's gone to the dark
He's
side.
lost.
Yeah, he's lost.
I can't really listen to Kanye's music at all really anymore. Like it just kind of is all it all feels like tainted, and I just feel sad for his kids.
Me too. It is sad because if it was just him and his own thing, and you'd be like, you're kind of a dickwad.
Yeah.
But like, you've got a family.
Yeah, I just feel like his kids are old enough to like see his life now, and I think like the whole Bianca Censori thing, just like like her stepping out, she's wearing nothing but like one piece of string over her vagina. Just the whole thing feels gross to me.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. It doesn't feel artful in the way that I think Kanye used to feel. It just feels like for shock value.
It's a little surprising from someone who started a church, you know?
Yeah. I always think about that. I'm like, is his church still going, or
I don't know where he falls as far as that goes now, but he'll post pictures of Bianca and then delete them immediately that are super pornographic.
Really?
This is happening like recently. So
is this his girlfriend?
This is his wife.
Oh,
wife. Yeah, Bianca Censori.
This is what I'm talking about when I'm like, I don't know pop culture. I'm like, he's married. I didn't even know who Bianca was. Really?
Yeah.
They've been together for a couple years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And I think the whole like Malibu house that was a house and then is now like a parking structure. Like it's just like this big open cement like structure. Yeah, it's just like weird stuff that I just feel like he's on his own journey that does not feel like someone who's mentally well.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, I'm always like mental illness is alive and well in the whole country, and you're just like, what is going on? It's so sad.
Yeah.
It's for sure an epidemic. I feel like celebrities are losing their minds, like some of them, obviously. And I'm like, I can't keep up.
Yeah.
I just can't keep up with the world, and especially pop culture. I feel like do you agree with this theory that like people are just wanting to take celebrities down at this point? Like I feel like we used to like worship them, and now I feel like we want them to fail.
I think people have always delighted in a downfall.
Yeah.
Because I think it just people see other people doing maybe better than them, and then they like to see people all of a sudden lose everything.
Yeah.
So I think it's a very human thing, unfortunately, and I do believe that people want to take celebrities down. And I think just in the way that, I mean, have you ever experienced like online hate or negativity in the comments?
Has that ever happened?
Yeah, like 20 minutes ago, yes.
The negativity in the comments is so surprising to me because we'll have a benign video about Amber Heard or we actually, this is funny, we just had a reel about Erica Jane's designer, their interior designer, and the level of vitriol we have received, and people so upset for us kind of joking about this designer's look.
Yeah.
It was like his outfit. It was so pathologically upset. Like this is the worst thing they've ever heard, and they're so frustrated. So I don't know. There's just like,
because you're upset about his outfit?
Yeah, like people come like sending crazy DMs.
Yeah.
People are just unwell right now.
Yeah.
I think,
and it manifests on the internet.
Yeah, I think the state of the comments section, like, it's not good.
It shows the state of the world.
Yes.
It's like, exposing the state of all of our mental health as the people that are online trolls.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's like manic chaos, negativity, and it's dark.
Do you think it'll change? Do you think it'll go back, or do you think it's just going to get worse?
No, I definitely don't think it will change. I think it'll get worse. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's scary.
I know. Well, and that's why I think it's interesting. So many people said that TikTok was nicer comment-wise than like Instagram Reels were. Yeah, that's what like some people said. So
not on mine.
I was gonna say you don't read the comments. So
well, no, maybe not necessarily on Pop Apologists, but for some other creators, like they felt like TikTok was nicer than Instagram. I don't know. The trolls are different on different platforms. I guess.
That's true, and they're different for different like reality shows too.
Mm-hmm.
Like Big Brother fans are so mean,
really,
and Bachelor Nation is so passionate, and it comes across mean sometimes. And then it's just there really are different categories of assholes out there, depending on what it is, who you are, where you came from. It's absolutely bananas. So okay. When you finally brought back Pop Apologists back in, what was 2020?
2020,
yeah.
Was that just like a fun quarantine little project, or were you really wanting to take it seriously and like grow it?
Well, we actually started it a little bit before quarantine, like where we talked about starting it.
Yeah. It wasn't like a COVID project. We brought it back, and then COVID happened 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
So, but I think we always wanted to do it.
Yeah.
It was just kind of like, when are we going to restart it?
I think that like we were both working in corporate jobs, and we were just like, okay, we need like another thing that's like exciting to us that's not like our job, you know?
Okay, apartments.com has more rental listings than anywhere else. So finding the perfect place is easier than ever, and so is finally moving in together. Just the two of you. It's a really big step, lots of new responsibilities, lots of adjustments. Most likely they'll wake you up at odd hours to go to the bathroom, and you'll most definitely find yourself in trouble coming home late for dinner. They might even unroll all of your toilet paper next time. It's just what happens when you two find a new place together. But you're not doing it because you feel like it. No, you're doing it because you love them, because they're family. And that's why apartments.com has the most pet-friendly rental listings on the internet, so that you and your furry family can find the perfect new place together. Apartments.com, the place to find a pet-friendly place. Chewy has everything you need to keep your pet happy and healthy, and right now you can save $20 on your first order and get free shipping by going to chewy.com/vine. And if you're a pet parent like me, you know about Chewy, and when they say they have everything to keep your pet happy and healthy, they are not joking. They have over 100,000 products, foods, treats, toys, beds, literally you name it. And not just for dogs, they have cats, birds, fish, reptiles, whatever floats your boat, literally every kind of pet. Plus, it all ships straight to your door in like a day or two, which is a lifesaver when you realize that you're out of food at exactly the wrong moment. And their auto ship feature is a game changer. I set up recurring shipments for all the essentials, so I'm never in that oops, I forgot panic. So you can change or cancel anytime, makes it super easy, and their customer service is chef's kiss. You can literally chat or call 24/7 and they care. I've used it. If your pet doesn't love something, you have a whole year to return it also, no questions asked. And right now you can save $20 on your first order and get free shipping by going to chewy.com/vine. That's chewy.com/vine to save $20 on your first order with free shipping. Chewy.com/vine. Minimum purchase required. New customers only. Terms and conditions apply. See site for complete details.
I have a question. Are you Swiftie fans?
Huge.
Oh, big time.
Oh, okay. Thank God. Because I was like, imagine you weren't and you would have to deal with the Swifties if you said anything negative.
Well, we still do, because we like to call ourselves nuanced Swifties.
Fair.
Where, you know, we have some thoughts on her fashion. We have.
Yeah.
Whew, how much time do you have?
Yeah. I'm like, she is so quirky, and like her fashion's
Nice.
quirky.
That's putting it very nicely.
The bangs are quirky, like everything. But I like find that so endearing about her. Tell me your thoughts.
Well, I was actually thinking about this recently. I really think that when it comes to Taylor and her aesthetic,
Yeah.
I think one, she likes to wear things that are approachable, because I think in her life she feels so different from everyone else.
Yeah.
That she doesn't need the big bling to tell people that she's
the high-end fashion.
Yeah.
she doesn't need it.
Yeah.
Because everyone already knows her success. And so I think she doesn't gravitate towards a lot of that stuff for that reason.
Yeah.
But the other thing is, I think she just has too many people around her telling her what she wants to hear, because these outfits can be god-awful.
I know. So what, you think people are telling her that outfit looks great? I don't think they were doing the opposite. Like,
no, I mean, online they're saying it looks bad, but in person, her like friends and stylists.
Well, and I think it's well known too that she's had the same stylist like basically since she was a lot younger. And I think the reason why is because obviously she has a very trusted circle of people that she, you know, like can trust and that she believes, you know, or have her best interest at heart.
Yeah.
And, you know, because she's as big as she is, she needs to like protect that. But, you know, maybe it's time for, you know, some fresher eyes, if you will. But yeah, her fashion, we love her so much.
Yeah.
Her fashion does baffle us, but you know, she's having fun. And
I like
you know
that
what? If
thought,
you're having
though.
fun, great.
I like the thought that she is like, you know, in so many ways, Taylor Swift is relatable. I feel like her lyrics, like there's no way she's sleeping at her boyfriend's roommate's house drinking screw top rosé. Like I'm like, she just knows how to be relatable with her fans, and her fans just feel so connected to her that I like the thought of like she dresses down for them. And it's like, I don't need to show that I'm a billionaire and like walk around with like diamonds and like a Rolex and like, you know, she's like, I'll just thrift.
I mean, she wasn't, I will say, to check myself, she wasn't head to toe Chanel at the Chiefs game this past weekend. So
Saw that.
Sometimes she goes for it, but a lot of times she's in Reformation. She's in Doen.
Yeah.
And I just think she doesn't want to be too big to hang out.
Yeah.
You know?
It's so cute of her that she stays somehow relatable.
But then again,
I
may say, like, I think then you look at like the way her houses are styled, like,
is it eclectic?
Very.
Okay.
It's like Lauren, I think you've referred to it as like kind of Mrs. Weasley, like from Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm like, so she's trying to be relatable too with her home decor. I
Right.
don't know.
That's where Chanler calls me on my bullshit. She's like, no, she just has bad taste.
And that's okay.
See, I'm like, she might just be super artsy and eclectic. And I'm like, that's different for a lot of people.
Totally.
Yeah.
And I might just be vain. I might just be like, you know, you should be in head to toe diamonds if you can rock it.
You're like, I just like a slick back pony with a white tee and a
Sorry.
red nail. Okay? Sorry for being me. Let's talk about how you went viral earlier this year with Kate Middleton, Conspiracies. Then you had to take everything down after getting backlash. So what happened there? There was so many conspiracy theories.
It was a crazy fever dream.
Yeah.
But basically what happened was I noticed that this was picking up.
Yeah.
And I had this moment where I was just like, well, I need to start making reels about this because, you know, this is what they say to do. Start making reels about hot topics that are really picking up. Anyway, long story short, I make 9 in a whole, and like, I start at 2 p.m. and then I go to like 11 p.m. and I just make 9 one day, the first day. And I actually just started having the best time making them. And then they start to like really pick up.
Yeah.
And we just end up going, Chanler was in Cabo.
Yeah, it's funny. I was out on a bachelorette trip.
Yeah.
And Lauren said, like, I'm going to make some reels about this Kate Middleton stuff. It's actually pretty crazy. And I'm like, yeah, it's crazy. Go for it. You know, I'm off the grid. I'm on PTO.
Yeah.
And then, like, some of the gals at this bachelorette trip, like, the next day are like, hey, I'm getting these reels from your account. And I'm like, that's crazy. I'm like, so embarrassed. I'm like, oh my gosh, of course. And then by the end of the trip, we were like going viral fully. And I wasn't even doing anything.
It was crazy.
Yeah. Was this like in the beginning when you were just having thoughts of like, where could she be? Because everyone's talking about it before you knew.
Yeah. So like basically I was just kind of sharing what all the thoughts were about where she was, what all the theories were. And then I have a friend, a very good friend. And her friend is someone who knows someone in Buckingham Palace and in Kensington Palace. She had two people in both palace, or she had a person in each palace who were feeding her information. And she said, I'm going to tell you what they're telling me. And they don't even know that each other are telling me this. And she was like, this is what's going on.
Did they not sign an NDA?
Well, those, they're all gossiping, obviously. And so anyway, when I got to part 27 or whatever it was, that's when I said, okay, this is what our source says is going on. So then...
Was the source correct?
I mean, ostensibly no, because then it was revealed that she had this cancer diagnosis. And of course, we were like sick to our stomachs. This is the last thing. To put it in perspective, we pursued like getting insurance in case the palace was going to sue us. And I really thought that they could kill me.
Wow.
Like I was like,
damn.
Like I really thought I had the truth about Kate Middleton and it was like a Free Britney situation. So it really was almost like a psychosis.
And also,
I went into.
God, your head's like on a swivel when you go to coffee. Like,
no, I was afraid by the subway.
Terrified. I mean, I think we thought that we were like getting the truth out about like what she was undergoing, what she was dealing with, behind closed doors.
Did the royals kill? Did they have hit?
I mean, I think people think that they killed Diana.
True.
I mean, if you look at what Henry VIII was capable of.
True.
But yeah, I mean, I think that, we just thought we were kind of like, I don't know, like truth tellers.
Yeah.
And then obviously, it was the last thing we wanted was for her to be like, sick.
Right.
But like, I think that what was also scary was the level of hatred coming from royal stands towards us was honestly different from anything else we'd ever experienced. Like there were just
scary.
There were people like messaging me on my personal account. Like it was a tidal wave of just like really intense heat.
Someone definitely hired a bot farm or like some sort of company to send a torrent of negativity toward us.
Yikes.
We got like an email about how like apparently my fiance was like cheating on me with my other sister. And then Lauren's husband
was gay,
but also had a love child.
Yeah.
No, what? People were just saying this.
This was all in an email that was like,
we're going to expose the secrets about your husbands. And it was funny. Yeah.
I got an email like that once. They were like, I'm going to expose what you look at porn. And I was like, cool. Go for it. Yes. You're welcome. But that's crazy.
Yeah.
It was a wild ride. We went from 33,000 followers on Instagram to 311. And we had been working on our podcast for 4 years at that time.
What was the story that they told you that you were spreading that wasn't true?
Well, it was the story that we were told that we believed to be the case was that, oh my gosh. So basically that she was, I mean, can you share?
Yeah. I mean, I think that we thought that she was fully done being a royal that there was infidelity.
Divorce, yeah.
That she was just like, that had finally come to a head. And she was like, I'm done. I'm out. Figure this out.
Yeah.
And that we thought the royal press was kind of scrambling to make it all look like everything was normal, but she was not seen or heard from. And so that's what we were following that rabbit hole.
Got it.
Yeah. So we thought she was finally no longer cooperating with the palace. And so they were keeping her sequestered and not seen until she fell back in line.
Right.
Because William was apparently having this affair with this woman named Rose Hanbury.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
And it is worth noting, like, the photoshopping, like, there were things that made it feel weird. Like, what could have been just like a careless mistake in Photoshop then went weird when she said, like, oh, that was my fault. I'm just, an amateur
photography.
Yeah. Like, that made things feel weird.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. It did feel, I'm just so, because I'm like, what would have that mistake been?
I mean, I will say my source has never backed down. She's like, yeah, she's back. They've got her back in line now.
Really?
Yeah. So,
allegedly.
So allegedly they've got her back in line. Like, that was true, but also she got this diagnosis?
I think that there are definitely people who think that,
I can't imagine. Okay, so, like, I can't imagine if that really was just her sick, not doing well, got a cancer diagnosis, and then there's all these conspiracy theories, and then people are like, nope, that wasn't even her talking, it's AI.
Right.
This was, like, but the truth is that she's just going through a hard time and, like, protecting her family. Like, that is so terrifying to me that could be, and then so on the smaller scale, Matt and Rachel from Bachelor World, there's like this whole thing going around, and these poor people, I'm like, who knows what is actually happening? Not everybody posts in real time, so he was posting stuff about her, maybe that had to go out by a certain time, maybe they got in a big fight the same night it ended. He had a manic response and did a prayer, and it was like middle of the night. I don't know what hour or time zone he was on, so I can't say. But then it's just like, when people in the public eye go through something, everyone wants to try and, like, figure out what it is and be right. How do you, as that being your job, like, to dig into pop culture, to dig into theories, knowing, like, okay, this topic is relevant, it's going to go viral, but also it could be affecting their relationship and, like, hurting them. How do you balance?
Yeah.
Is it just, like, your approach of, like, how?
Yeah, it's been honestly really tough to navigate that because I feel like when we started the pod, we had very few listeners, right? So it just felt so inconsequential, anything we said, because it was literally just two girls chatting with, a few people listening. Yeah. So it just didn't even feel like it mattered. But now that we have a much larger audience, it's been very interesting to experience, like, if we say something about a celebrity, and especially if a reel gets posted with us saying that, a lot of times they will see it. Yeah. And, like, they will comment, or there'll be a DM, or,
like, give me an example.
One example somewhat recently, we had a reel about Gwyneth Paltrow and Brad Falchuk, who we adore from afar. We don't know them, but we're obsessed with them. And they, like, she had posted some things that were a little bit cryptic. She said something about, like, a 7-year or 9-year renewal. And people were kind of like, wait, was that, like, when they first started, like, dating? Is this a divorce? Like, are they separated?
9-year completion. I've just entered a 9-year completion, and they had started dating about 9.5 years before.
Exactly. So we talked about, is there, is there something happening beneath the surface here?
Is the relationship complete?
Right.
Yes. And then there was a reel from our accountant about it, and she recently commented and was like, we're never breaking up.
She's like, don't worry, girl.
This is a happy story.
I'm like, cool.
I know. This is a happy story, but that was a moment where I was like, oh, shit. Like, people might see this stuff. And,
Isn't that crazy?
It is crazy.
Because the For You page on so many things, like, will reach the amount of things I see about me, and I'm like, I don't want to see this. Yes. And I'm like, it probably does reach. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But you're like, well, Gwyneth Paltrow knows today.
We were just like, it was all I needed. It was like it's like God talked to me.
Has anyone negatively written?
Well, do you watch Real Housewives?
No.
Okay. Well, one time I was making a joke about Kathy Hilton, like, eating on TV trays.
Yeah.
And she commented and was like, that's just me being me inside my house or something. And I was being snarky. And anyway, that was a moment where I was like, oh, I hope I didn't, like, hurt her feelings. And I was like, I live in 450 square feet. I don't even have a dining table.
Okay, I'm going to put you on to a little something, a hot tip, if you will,
from one big wine guy to another. If you are going to drink wine in any amount, a glass, a bottle, you need to be drinking one that's low sugar. High sugar content in wine is the main culprit for hangovers, and a high sugar wine is not good. Nobody's got time for that. So next time the mood strikes for a nice crisp glass of vino, pick up a bottle of Spade and Sparrows. All 4 varietals are low sugar, made in California, and of course female founded by yours truly. You can locate your nearest bottle today by visiting spadeandsparrows.com/in-store. All 4 Spade and Sparrows varietals are honestly crowd pleasers. I don't think we've gotten any bad reviews. They're super easy drinking. It's what I drink for wine. And of course, like I said, all low sugar. Find Spade and Sparrows in the wine aisle at Target in Florida, Texas, Georgia, Ohio, Oklahoma, Louisiana, or various other retailers across the U.S., or shop online at spadeandsparrows.com. And of course, my little vino community, you can use code OFFTHEVINE to receive 15% off your first order. Spade and Sparrows, great wine without the rules.
Ryan Reynolds, Blake Lively.
Yes.
Let's get into it.
Oh yeah, let's get into it.
I need to be taken to school on this because I was watching your highlight reels on it and I'm like, this is a lot of information.
It's a lot. Yeah.
How to break it down of what's going on and where they're at.
It's a lot to digest. So there's 2 schools of thought. Basically, her school of thought is that, or what she alleges is that he sexually harassed her, put her in really compromising situations, was awful to her, very inappropriate. And he tried to get retribution on her, and he sent basically a bot farm, or he hired a PR agency to ruin her reputation online.
What are they called?
Crisis management.
Crisis management.
Yeah.
Which we almost needed, but at one point.
Yeah.
What he says is that she signed on to do the film and then became a total nightmare and completely took over the entire film. And everything that she alleges, he has an explanation for.
Right.
So for example, like she says that he was really creepy and at one point said that she smelled good during a scene together where he didn't even need to say anything.
Yeah.
That was like ad-libbing and it was coming onto her. He says that she had complained that she had that her smell tanner made her smell bad before that scene started. And so he was just trying to like make her feel comfortable because they were like right next to each other. So like for everything that she says, there's a he says.
God. But it's just so hard for me because as soon as I hear that he made someone uncomfortable, I immediately hate him.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And so I'm like, I feel like every time I see something, it's like Team Justin. And I'm like, are we forgetting that he crossed lines and was very inappropriate and now has an excuse for everything? So where do we stand?
Everyone is Team Justin, by the way. So our episode was leaned more heavily towards Blake. It was an episode called Blake Lively versus Justin Baldoni. We're releasing another episode on Wednesday. So by the time this comes out, it will be available. Okay. And it's really going over his side of the story.
Yeah.
It's just hard. I really don't know where I land right now.
Yeah, I think that a couple things. I think that you can be a total nightmare to work with.
Totally.
And you can also be sexually harassed.
Yeah. Yes.
And that both things can be true.
Right.
I do think, there might have been scenarios where she was sexually harassed, but then also certain things happened that were not as black and white as she says they are.
Right.
And he does have an explanation that makes sense for that. It's very murky. And this is why, like, Lauren and I have been saying, like, we need somebody else from this film to speak out on this because it's such a he said, she said, how are we interpreting these text messages between them and their respective people? It's really murky.
I just refuse to be on a guy's side if he has made a woman feel that way. Like, I don't care what your excuses are or if she, I just don't, I'm like, that's terrible. Is she difficult to work with or is she an assertive woman, who knows what she's doing? But like that, you can't justify.
I think there are also things that he doesn't have an explanation for.
Right.
If that's worth noting. Also, I think that the internet and people in general were ready to take down Blake Lively. I think she was already kind of like annoying people in general. And then I think when this wave happened, it was just like everyone got out their pitchforks.
Yes. Oh, they were like, take her down.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I felt so bad because again, things come out so quickly. Everyone jumps to conclusions. Everyone jumps to conspiracy theories. And then it's like, no, we have to wait till the actual truth comes out.
Yeah.
And then you can, pick a side. But at the end of the day, if he made her uncomfortable.
Yeah. I mean, there are crazy things. Like during a scene where she was during the birth scene.
Yeah.
He had his friend play the role of her OBGYN. So who was right in between her legs. Apparently there was just a small piece of cloth covering her genitalia.
Yeah.
And she didn't know this until they were about to film it, that he basically just, this role typically would be filled by a professional actor, a professional local actor, but no, it was his friend was going to do it.
Why?
Because it's like, she's saying it's like a favor to the friend from him. Like, you know, like, I'm going to let you be in this.
Oh, God.
Yeah, and one of the billionaire co-founder of Wayfarer Studios, he barely ever visited set, but just happened to be on set the day that she was doing the birth scene. And there's this whole talk about how they were like really pressuring her to do it naked. The set at the time was not a closed set, which is what it should have been, where, you know, like only the essential people are there. There's no extra monitors. It's just like really private to, you know, protect everyone involved in the scene. And that it was absolutely not that.
God.
So just, you know, and I think another thing worth noting is that Justin was the director. He had, you know, was her boss in this. And so it's like, you know, it's important to note that if he was in a position of power over her, even though she's Blake Lively and he made her feel uncomfortable, like, you know, there's wrongdoing there.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he hasn't apologized or anything.
No,
he's suing her.
Yeah, he's suing her.
Like, the fact that he hasn't said, like, if I had made her feel, like, any kind of apology, and this also, I mean, the whole thing around what the movie's about and, like, certain things, and then the crisis PR, whatever it was, trying to make it seem like they tried to push her in a direction of, like, this is a strong woman who is able to get over and pass through things, and she's strong. But then in interviews, it came across as her not acknowledging domestic violence. Like, it's just so messy.
I mean, that's the easiest one, that they could just have someone say, no, we had to follow the marketing plan.
Yeah. Right.
Or, no, we could talk about it however we wanted to.
Right.
But no one is coming forward. We don't have a third source.
This is just, it's all just so murky. I know I keep saying that, but like, she also does come across as so snarky and rude in these interviews. And it's really hard to feel bad for her to some degree or to understand her perspective, because she's, I don't know, some of that is indefensible to me. It doesn't mean that she deserved anything that happened to her, but, you know, she does also seem kind of like a bitch.
Yeah. Yeah. See, I have a different opinion.
Okay.
I'm like, I think she's just like, I think she is a powerful, assertive woman who comes across as a bitch.
Yeah, of course.
And that for sure happens. I just think that the way that she's snarky to people, it's just,
I also have not seen all these interviews, and I'm not in on this whole thing, so that's why I'm more like a bystander on this.
And I think that totally happens, and some of that might be at play here. But there are just a few things that she says to people that are just like read the room. Just be a little bit like...
Yeah, there's an interview where there's a Gossip Girl panel interview, and she makes a joke about Leighton Meester having been born in a cage, because Leighton Meester's mom was in prison when she gave birth to Leighton Meester. Oh. Yeah. I mean, and they were not what?
Oh, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
And they were not friends on Gossip Girl. And that is a red flag. If you have two girls, same age, hit show stars, they really should get along. And if they don't, I think one has a problem.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Anyway, our thoughts are all over the place about this.
Yeah,
and we hope the truth comes out. We need
I know,
to know
how
what
do you
actually
see it
happened.
all playing out? Like, what do you think is going to happen? And when is this going to happen?
He's suing her for, like, her and Ryan, right?
For $400 million. Their net worth, according to Google, is $350. So he's really going after their entire fortune. I like to call people's wealth fortune. It feels like an old-timey way to talk about it.
These old whippersnappers' fortune.
He's suing for $400 million.
And he has his backer is a billionaire. So they want to go to trial. So this is not going to get settled.
Oh yeah, this ain't happening anytime soon. But can't she sue him for sexual harassment?
She is suing him.
Okay.
So she's suing him and he's countersuing her.
Is there proof?
There's text messages that are kind of used as evidence, but some of the complaints that he has are that, like, the text messages are cherry picked. Oh my God. It's a mess.
A lot of the proof oddly seems to side with Justin.
Yeah.
And in terms of a lot of his communications with his team. So it's very strange.
Gosh. Okay, last thing. I read that Obama is having an affair with Jennifer Aniston.
Confirmed. No, I'm just kidding.
You and I are holding hands because Lauren said this the other day in a group chat, and I almost texted her on the side, like, WTF, like, what are you talking about? Like, Brock and Michelle also in our, Mount Rushmore monogamy.
Mount Rushmore. So, and they just did a happy birthday post 3 days ago, but she has not been beside him for anything
It makes sense that she's missing the inauguration, but it doesn't make sense to me that she missed Jimmy Carter's funeral.
Right.
And
did they say anything? Was she like, I'm sick?
No, there was no excuse given. I don't know. I mean,
I am not going to be well.
His happy birthday post came out to her like after a lot of these rumors got more heated or more.
But didn't Jennifer Aniston go on Fallon or one of the late night TV shows and say like, haha, that's preposterous? Like she
did?
She on late night TV was just like, that's hilarious.
Yeah, because I think the Jennifer Aniston rumor has been around for a while.
Yeah. It has?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe it's
the affair?
Yeah.
That's what, I like think I'm breaking news to you, the pop culture queen.
I didn't know about it either until maybe the last week or two.
Oh,
yeah.
God.
Yeah, it's picking up steam right now.
I don't believe it, for the record.
I can't. I don't. Unless I see it, that would be freaking wild, though.
It would be crazy.
I
It'd
need
be
some
very
proof.
sad.
I need some, like, proof of, like, is there a picture of them somewhere together? But, like,
I want receipts.
I want receipts.
I didn't like the birthday post because they were across the table from each other. And it was a big table. It seemed like there was distance between them.
I didn't like the birthday post. They were reaching really far to hold each other's hand for the photo.
Exactly.
And her smile was not genuine.
She did not actually seem that thrilled in the photo.
And if you really zoom, it's actually photoshopped that they're touching hands.
Okay, you saw that too? No, I'm just kidding.
To end the podcast, I always have somebody tell me an embarrassing story or confession. So now is your time.
You have a brief one.
I have a brief one.
Give me the brief.
Lauren has a great one, but the one that sticks out to me as truly one of the more horrendous things that's happened to me, or just really truly cringe. When I lived in LA, at one point, I offered my leftover food to someone who was just sitting on the ground, who was not a homeless person or a person experiencing homelessness. It was just a person seated on the ground against a wall.
God.
Yes, and they declined.
Would you
the
like
leftovers.
a quesadilla? And they're like, no, thanks, I'm fine.
I'm just sitting down.
They're like,
actually.
just got back from Erewhon.
Yes. So that, yep, that's me.
Oh my God, that's funny.
The TLDR of it is I got diarrhea at a wedding. I actually got food poisoning at a wedding, but it started with diarrhea. I don't know. Anyway, I got Lady Di at a wedding.
Lady Di!
And I was very ill in the bathroom, but I kind of was like, okay, I think I'm feeling better. I can go out. I didn't know it was going to turn into full-blown food poisoning.
Oh, no.
So I leave the bathroom, and then I looked down, and I didn't notice that the ties from my dress, my light blue dress, had gone into the toilet. So the back of my dress was coated in shit. Like coated.
What part of the wedding? What stage of the wedding were you?
This was right after the ceremony.
Oh.
So cocktail hour was going on.
Oh God, what'd you do?
I went to it was at their family home in Sun Valley, Idaho.
Okay.
So there was nowhere to go. Like the restrooms were these like nice air conditioned porta potties, but they were like busy. Like I couldn't just post up there.
Yeah.
So I went into where like the bridal suite was, like not the where the girls got ready.
Yeah.
No one was there. No one needed to be there. No one even knocked on the door. So it was fine. I did not just like post up there and make a scene. I proceeded to like wash down my dress in the shower and then naked in the bathroom with a blow dryer.
But
like,
how did you carry the shitty?
It was
room?
So I'm like skirting the wall with my fiance because he has seen what's gone on, and I'm like, you have to help me, like get to a bathroom that I can use.
That was my nightmare.
Yeah,
Food
it was
poisoning
crazy.
is like one of my biggest fears.
I mean, it's awful.
Oh God, I'm so sorry that happened to you.
Oh, thank you.
But did the night continue? You went on.
No, so then I
went home.
So like after I got my dress clean, I went to the dinner, and I'm at the dinner, and I'm just like, I can't sit up. So then I go, and I'm like I am like crouching in the field, and then I call an Uber. An Uber gets there 40 minutes later, and then
40 minutes later.
Yeah,
oh,
the Uber
Lord.
pulls over on the side of the road because it was rural.
Yeah.
It was like aren't Ubers constantly there. Anyway, I threw up like 5 times on the side of the road outside the Uber, like on the way home.
Mm-hmm.
Not in the Uber.
That
though,
ain't
so that's
right.
good.
That ain't right. I'm
sorry, guys. That's so gross.
No, that's why I ask these questions, because this happens to people, and we're here to tell you that you're not alone.
Thank you.
You're not alone. Where can everybody find your podcast and you guys on social media?
We are Pop Apologists on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, all the places.
You guys have got a great following on your podcast page.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Thank
you've
you.
built a really cool community there.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome.
We're
We love our audience.
Yeah, we feel so lucky.
What, do you have a name for them? Like I call mine the binos.
We have a name for the people who sign up for our premium episodes because we put out a premium every week as well on Patreon and Apple Podcasts, and we call them our global elites because it's kind of expensive, and so we just feel like whoever is part of it is probably
elite. I love that. Oh my gosh! Well, thank you so much for coming on the pod.
Thank you for having us.
Yes.
It's so fun.
I'm Kaitlyn Bristowe. Your session is now ending. And if I'm being honest, I wouldn't mind a rating and review.